Greetings from Logical Systems. Welcome to part 4 in a series of demonstration videos on our company and the AutoEDMS document management and workflow system. In part 4, we will provide you with more general product information about AutoEDMS. First, we will review the revision control features of the AutoEDMS workflow system. Next, we will examine the tools we have in AutoEDMS for reading and writing attribute data in AutoCAD drawing files. In AutoEDMS, there are basically 3 categories of revision control. Standard revision control features, which are easy to activate in the Visual Workflow Designer, and custom features to meet the unique requirements of our customer site, which may include ACL programming. And actually, in many cases, we combine standard features with custom features for a tailored revision control solution. When it comes to the tools for reading and writing attribute data in AutoCAD drawing files, AutoEDMS can do everything from simply filling in database fields with data from drawing attributes, to providing complex bidirectional data transfer within drawing edit and workflow processes, whatever is required by the customer site. Now we'll take a look at the revision control features of AutoEDMS, and we'll start with the standard feature, which can easily be activated via settings we make in the workflow route template. The basic concept here is to save a limited set of previous versions of any document or drawing file and give each of these previous versions a database record in AutoEDMS so they can easily be located and reviewed if needed. To activate standard revision control, there are 2 main settings we make in a route template when using the Visual Workflow Designer. The first setting we make in the start step of the route template on the File Handling tab, where we choose Create a working duplicate of the original file. We can also control where this working duplicate file can be saved, as you can see by the options available. The second key setting is made up on the Finish step of the route template, where on the Revision tab we select the Use Table Defined Revisions option. To see information about the table defined revisions, I will load up our online documentation. The chart indicates that the previous version files will have numbered extensions based on the type of file. And by default, the system saves 10 previous revisions for each document or drawing file, but this quantity can be adjusted if needed. Next, we'll take a look at how standard AutoEDMS revision control works from the user perspective. To start the process, I select the Flow Document toolbar button. For the route template, I select the Revision Multi-Step template. The name itself indicates the use of revision control. The last action allows me to enter a workflow comment. Then I pick Done. Now we'll review the results. In the form, I see that the workflow status fields have been updated to indicate that I'm looking at the working copy of the drawing record. When I do a fast find search on the file name, I see 2 results. I'll pick the collection button to show both results in the search window and switch from one to the other to see differences on the form. One is the original drawing record, and the other is the working record I will be editing. By showing the file details page of the form, we can compare the path differences of these 2 drawing records. The working copy is in a folder named for the job, which is below a work folder. The original copy is in a folder named for the job, which is below a jobs folder. Something I'd like to mention is that I did not need to decide where the working copy of the drawing would be stored at the time I flowed it on the route. This is because the destination was configured in my route template to be a fixed location, so the choice was automatic. With the Visual Workflow Designer, there are several options for where to store a working copy file, including an option whereby the user can specify their own destination. By selecting the View menu and then Workflow Comments, I can see the comments file that I made an entry into when I flowed the drawing. The comments file will be saved and updated each time a user makes an entry. This is done for the purpose of historical reference, but it can also be easily disabled if you don't want to use it. Another place that audit information is stored is in the Workflow History database. Each time a drawing or document record is flowed, an entry is made in the database. You can view a snapshot of the workflow history information for a drawing or document record by selecting the Workflow menu and then History. Each line item in the listing represents a single workflow event and shows the time and date of the event, the description field, the from and to steps of the route, and the from and to usernames. If you need more detailed workflow history info, such as if an audit is being performed, you can load up the Workflow History database form in AutoEDMS and use all the normal searching capabilities to find the information you need. One other result of flowing this drawing was that I received a notification email because I was the workflow recipient. Like the workflow comments file, the email notification can easily be disabled if you don't want to use it. Now we proceed and review how the standard AutoEDMS revision control will keep the previous original drawing file after the edit of the file is complete when I flow it onto the finish step in the route. First, I launch the drawing into AutoCAD with the Edit button on the toolbar and select AutoCAD 2019 for my application to launch. Next, I make the required changes to this drawing, which is to add the section FF diagram in the lower left-hand corner. I start by updating the revision area of the title block. Then I finish the edit process by inserting the necessary diagram into the drawing. With the drawing changes complete, I exit from AutoCAD and save. Back in AutoEDMS, I will use the Flow Document option on the toolbar to send a working copy of the drawing to the finished step of the route template. After the workflow engine does the processing and file movements, I'm back on the released copy of the drawing. Notice that this drawing is revision B, and if I move to the previous record in the database, you see the previous revision of the drawing, which is revision A. Also notice that the previous revision has an extension value of 000 according to the revisions table we saw earlier. By default, the previous revision records are displayed. But if necessary, the previous revisions can be hidden so that only the most current revision of any drawing or document is available. In our next section of Part 4, we will examine the ability of AutoEDMS to read and write attribute data contained in AutoCAD drawing files. Attributes are commonly used in the title block of a drawing, so it's a significant value for AutoEDMS to be able to read the attribute data and use it to update the fields in the database record. And it's an even more valuable feature to use AutoEDMS record data to fill in the title block attributes of a drawing. The first step towards understanding attribute extraction is to review the AutoEDMS title block management form and database. In the customer form we're currently using, we can use a toolbar button to switch directly to this configuration form. The title block management form can be used to define an unlimited number of title block configurations and up to 35 attribute tag name and field name assignments per title block. When a new title block configuration is defined, generally we start with the drawing file which contains the title block. This is saved to a special location of the customer's AutoEDMS configuration so that it can be reviewed and used to define the settings. For this particular title block, on the Template View tab, you can see the drawing we chose and even launch it with Quick View if needed. On the main page of the title block management form, there are several defined settings. But perhaps the most important area is the AutoCAD tag and field mapping chart. The first column in the chart is the name of the attribute tag in the title block, and the second column is the database field name in the AutoEDMS form. By using the change button at the end of each row, you'll see that this system basically walks you through making the attribute tag, database field, and ACL program assignments to meet your needs. It's most common for the system administrator at the customer site to define the settings in the title block management form because they are familiar with the database field names. Next, we'll take a look at what the title block management form settings provide to the user when working with AutoEDMS. First, there is the attribute extraction function that can be assigned to a toolbar button. When a user picks this button, the AutoEDMS technical data program scans the drawing file and compares its findings with the saved configuration in the title block management form, and then extracts data from the drawing to fill in the assigned database fields on the form. So to illustrate this feature, on this database record for a drawing, I will change the values in two of the title fields.
Then I pick the Attribute Extraction button, and you'll see values in those title fields change back to their previous values.
This function is commonly used when a user imports a single drawing to AutoEDMS, but it can also be integrated into the import process so it's automatic. Next, I want to show how our ability to read and write attribute data can be used within AutoEDMS workflow and edit processes. Let's say that an engineering change notice requires me to change the third title of this drawing from combustion chamber cover to say regen chamber cover. So what I do is flow the drawing with the revision template. And then on the working copy record, I modify the third title to say Regen Chamber Cover. Next, I pick the Edit Toolbar button, and when AutoCAD loads up the drawing, all of the configure attribute tags in the drawing are updated, including the third title that I modified on the database record, which you will see when I zoom in on the title block area. This type of title block automation in AutoEDMS saves time and prevents errors, both of which are valuable assets for any company using AutoCAD for design and documentation. This ends part 4 of our AutoEDMS system demonstration. Please check out the other videos in this series and contact us with any questions. Our website address is www.logicalsystemsrb.com. Thanks for watching.